So for my project, I wanted to learn a little bit more about React Native. I've done a lot of just normal React development, web development, but I haven't ever really tried to use React Native for mobile development. So I think we're all familiar with the fact that React Native is meant to do cross-platform. You should be able to write an app in JavaScript and then have that rendered into native code. One of the coolest tools for React Native is Expo. Expo is a platform specifically for React apps to help you deploy, develop, and build your mobile apps. And I wanted to point out one thing I came across was this project for Create React Native app. If any of you do React development, you are surely familiar with Create React App. This is very similar. I'll help you scaffold the project, but I came across this that Create React Native App has actually been merged with the Expo CLI, so you can actually use Expo for almost everything. We're going to go ahead and start a new React Native project by running the command expo init, and then I'm going to give it a name super cool. Now it'll give me a couple options of what type of project I want to build. I'm just going to start with a blank app. I can kind of choose how that goes. I'm going to give it the name again, super cool app. And then it gives me the option to use yarn. I'm going to say no, because I want to use npm. So this is going to go ahead and scaffold my project, install all the dependencies and everything I need to get going. Awesome, so that's all done. I'm going to first cd into that directory. Before anything, I'm going to open this up in my code editor. I'll just use VS Code. And then I'm going to run the command that it suggests, npm start. Now when I run npm start, it's actually going to run the expo start command. And I'll show you what happens next. So the first thing that Expo does is it opens up my browser and gives me a UI to work with. You'll see here in the bottom left-hand corner, it gives me a QR code. And if I have my physical device with the Expo app installed, I can actually scan this QR code and see the app running on my physical device, which is pretty cool. I have to make sure I'm on the same network. You can see there's a couple other options. If I go back to the terminal, you'll see the same QR code as well as the same options. So one of those options is that I can run an iOS simulator, which you can see I have open right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click I, which will open my project up on the simulator. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my code editor here right now, and I'm going to open up this app.js file. You can see this is everything that's being displayed on the screen right now. So if I go here, I can change this to say hello world. If I save, it hot reloads, and you can see those changes right here on my app. So one thing I want to point out is that React Native comes with a lot of components already built in. So in the documentation, you can go through here and see all the different components that they have available to you just with React Native. There are also other UI libraries that will help you with native development, but really just using React Native, you can get a lot done. So I'm going to show you a quick app that I've started building. I want to build an app that will let you choose and display your favorite programming language. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by bringing in React hook methods, use state. I'm going to define a couple hooks. So the first thing I want to do is I want to define the state variable. I'm going to say favorite language. I'm going to also define the name of that method. I'm going to say, for now, I'm going to say JavaScript. Okay. Now I'm just going to copy and paste some code I've had in here already. And I'll explain it. Okay, so first thing I have here, I need to define one more hook. Let's say call it submitted, and submit. So I have a ternary here. Oh, everything broke right now, and I have to import a couple things still. But the first variable I have here is submitted, which is a Boolean. I've defined here with the default value of false. I've also given it the method to change that variable. So I have a ternary here saying submitted. If it is submitted, if that is true, it'll show me you selected and then the favorite language I've selected. And it'll also give me a button that I can press to submit to false. Now, submitted as false, it'll show me a couple of different components. First of all, a text component with pick your favorite language, and then also a picker, which will default to, since I'm using an iOS device, it'll default to an iOS date picker. And then it'll also show me a couple items here. I also have another button here at the bottom that says choose favorite. Now, picker, you can see a few components I'm using here: view, text, button, and picker. And those all come from React Native. So I need to make sure I import button here and picker from React Native. There we go. You'll also see down here, style sheet comes from React Native and helps you build just a simple styles object, very similar to what you would see in just a normal React project. So I have a couple more styles I want to add to this for a title and for favorite text. So I'm going to save, and once again, you'll see it all reload here. So now you can see a picker looks completely native, and because it is. And I can scroll through here. I'm going to select, let's just say Python is my favorite programming language. And if I click choose favorite, there we go. It says you selected Python, and it gives me the option to pick again. So as you can see, if you're familiar with React at all, this should feel very comfortable to you. It should be very familiar. Thanks to the cool tools from React Native and Expo and a couple other CLIs that are out there, You can get started very quickly. I learned all this in just a little over an hour.